All right, so I wanted to do a quick little live here and essentially go over why I think the Yankees should be all over Bo Bichette. I do not understand, after watching Yankees Hot Stove last night, why this team is not in on Bo Bichette. Now, I understand Cody Bellinger, right? Obviously, that's your number one priority. Okay, I understand that. If that's the primary reason you think you're going to get that done, okay. I would prefer both. But hey, that's just me. But again, Bo Bichette, in my mind, just makes too much sense for this team. When you look at his baseball savant page, I pull it up right here in front of me. I mean, the value he brings in terms of just being a contact oriented bat to ball kind of guy who can hit for some pop, had 18 home runs this year, mind you. He got hurt in September, early September against the Yankees, actually, at a collision at home plate, hurt his left knee, tried to come back for the World Series, wasn't 100%, hit that huge home run in game seven off Otani, that 3-run home run that we know about. This is a guy who every year outside of 2024 has put up strong numbers, hit over 300, can hit leadoff, around an 800 OPS kind of guy, 840 OPS this past year. Um, his batting metrics are off the charts. xWOBA, XBA, slugging, average exit velo, hard hit percentage, all in the high 80s to early 90 percentile. The one downside with him, yes, is the fielding. His fielding is not good. The Yankees don't view him as a shortstop, but I mean, look, neither is Anthony Volpe a shortstop. I mean, at the end of the day, what this guy can bring you. I know everybody's been screaming, "Oh, Stephen Kwan, Stephen Kwan." Bo Bichette is a lot better of a hitter than Stephen Kwan. Um, Bo Bichette has been a proven hitter for a number of years now. He's only 27 years old. What he would cost you in terms of what you would pay Bellinger, he could potentially cost maybe even a little less, but around that price range, 5 years, $150 million. And he's 3 years younger than Bellinger. I mean, it just makes too much sense for this team. Now, everybody's going to ask you, oh, the defense, where are you going to play him? There is a little bit of a conundrum there, right? Of course, you have Jazz Chisholm at second base. Bo Bichette has reportedly told teams he's open to playing second base. So everybody's seeing it in the lens of, oh, if you sign Bo, you'd have to trade Jazz. I don't think that would necessarily have to be the case. I think you could work in the possibility where if you sign Bo, you have him play a little bit of second base, you can try him at shortstop a little bit. And knowing you have Caballero as the utility guy who can immediately jump in at short if necessary, if there's a significant problem there with Bo at short. But you could put Bo at second. I think you could be willing to put Jazz back at third and have a little bit of like a platoon there with McMahon. Now, Jazz can play every day, but like here's the thing: everybody's assuming this with Giancarlo Stanton being the full-time DH. That's also not going to be the case. You're going to have Ben Rice being the everyday first baseman. Giancarlo is going to get hurt at some point. So I think DH at bats could open up for a guy like Bichette, and then also Jazz on certain days and whoever, right? So I feel like Bo Bichette, he's just too good of a hitter. I could see him hitting leadoff for the Yankees. The Yankees have needed a leadoff hitter for years. I just don't understand it. I don't understand why they're not in on him. I mean, you look at everything, the repertoire. I mean, the guy, he's a professional hitter. He is just he's incredible. And it's crazy to me that we're not in on him strictly because I mean Cody Bellinger, look, as much as we like Cody Bellinger, the offense, the defense, all that stuff, I'm not psyched about giving him more than 5 years possibly. And if you lose Cody Bellinger, like who is the elite bat out there that you can go and get? And you had Jim Boda the other day mention, oh, the Yankees are desperately seeking a right-handed bat. Well, who is that? Kyle Tucker's left-handed. We know the Yankees aren't really in on him. We've heard Nico Horner's name with the Chicago Cubs, but again, like we don't know how willing they are to trade him in his walk year. And then there's Bo Bichette, right? Austin Hayes, we've heard about a bit, but again, I'm not crazy about that in terms of who he is, like a platoon situation. I would just rather let Dominguez play every day, to be honest with you, at that rate, or Jones, depending on who can win the job out of left field. And that's if Bellinger walks. But man, it's just Bo Bichette. We always talk about with this Yankee team lowering the strikeouts, more contact oriented professional hitters on this team. and hitters that can produce in October. Bo Bichette can do that. Bo Bichette stepped up massively for Toronto this postseason when he came back, and he wasn't 100%. Bo Bichette is a guy who doesn't strike out a lot. He can come up in clutch moments in October. He can hit leadoff. He's right-handed. That checks so many boxes for this team that this Yankee team, we say to ourselves, is lacking year in and year out. Too lefty, strikes out too much, et cetera, et cetera. I really, and also needing a leadoff hitter. Look, Trent Grisham did a nice job for the Yankees this year, but the Yankees need a true leadoff hitter, a guy that can get on base and be a grinder type of hitter up there. So, it's just, it's really, and I want to pull up some stats too. Bo Bichette has a 280 career batting average, leading off 194 hits, 25 home runs, 82 RBIs, 90 runs scored in 162 games when batting leadoff in his career for the Toronto Blue Jays. I mean, the numbers here, and the one bad year, quote unquote bad year from Bo Bichette was 2024. Negative 0.3 WAR, played in just 81 games, was limited due to injury. And that was like his one outlier bad year. Other than that, you go back to 2019, his major league debut, upwards to 2025. He's around a 3 to 5 WAR player practically every single year. So, again, like the Yankees, okay, you don't view him as a shortstop, but I don't think Anthony Volpe is a shortstop either. If it were up to me, I would live with the bad defense with Bo Bichette at short for a year, and then maybe you get Lombard up here. You can move Bichette to second when Jazz walks the free agent. I don't know. That would be just me. But if you're adamant on not playing Bo Bichette at shortstop because of his defensive miscues, then I do think you can make it work. Still having Jazz. I wouldn't sign Bo and then trade Jazz. I'd want both of those hitters in the Yankees lineup. It would make it that much of a force. So I think you could, make some wiggle room for that, whether you have to play Jazz at third a little bit more and you have the DH spot open because obviously I don't think Stan's going to play a full season, of course. So you can mix and match there. I'm not really so concerned about that. I just want the Yankees to sign the better hitter. Sign the better. And again, Bo Bichette, he's 27 years old. It's not like we're talking about a guy who's in his mid-30s. I think he's going to get healthy. He's going to recover from this knee injury. Up until this knee injury in September against the Yankees at Yankee Stadium, he had played in well over 100 games. He played in 139 games this year. He was on track to play a full season. This knee injury really screwed up his plans. He collided in Dawson Wells at home plate. Blue Jays didn't even know if they were going to get him for the World Series at all, but he battled, he persevered, he came back, he helped the team at second base, and the Blue Jays nearly won a World Series. So, and the uncertainty with Bo Bichette returning to the Blue Jays is because they just signed Kazuma Akamoto, who's primarily going to be their third baseman. They have other infielders such as Ernie Clement, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, former Yankee, by the way. And so, and you've also heard the rumors of them linked to Kyle Tucker. If they sign Kyle Tucker, it makes it even more unlikely that they're going to retain Bo Bichette. Not saying that the Blue Jays won't retain him, but in terms of likelihood, where they're spending their money and what's happening, it looks as if the odds of that are dwindling, right? Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen, but I'm just saying this is the Yankees' opportunity to really strike and sign a division rival player away from the Toronto Blue Jays, who I've always admired for countless years. I know he's close with Vladdy and all that, but this is a guy that can be a difference maker in the Yankees lineup, hit leadoff, a right-handed bat, badly needed in a lefty-dominated lineup, and checks all the boxes of what fans, myself, so many Yankee fans, and just people across the board have been complaining about the last several years, especially when it comes to October, too many strikeouts, this and that. This is a guy who's a professional hitter. He can hit the ball to all fields. Really, really solid approach. It's actually kind of funny, too, because his brother, Dante Bichette Jr., played in the Yankees minor league system. So I thought that was always kind of funny in terms of just like, he has a sibling in the Yankees organization. Not that it matters, obviously, but his father, Dante Bichette, did play for the Colorado Rockies, was a very prolific power hitter for some time. for them back in the late 90s, early 2000s, I believe. But yeah, Dante Bichette Jr. was drafted by the Yankees. Uh, First and third baseman, 2011 MLB draft. He didn't pan out, but again, his little brother is pretty good. So if it were up to me, and if anybody with the Yankees is listening to this, please consider Bo Bichette. I know the reports have said contrary, but this is a player that makes too much sense for this organization, just in terms of what he is as a hitter, what he can do to impact the lineup. I know the defense is not great, but it's not great either with Anthony Volpe, and Anthony Volpe can't hit or field. And I'm really sick and tired if we're going to use the defensive excuse here, but then try out Anthony Volpe this coming year when he gets back from injury at short after seeing the constant offensive and defensive regression. So go sign Bo Bichette, make your life easier, and get a player at the top of the order that can have an impact. And if you can't retain Cody Bellinger, then I think Bo Bichette even makes that much more sense. Again, I would love both in a perfect world where if money were not an issue, just go sign both players. Spend money, sign both of them. But again, that's not going to happen. The Yankees work on a budget. This is a new era type of team. But to put it simply, for all the reasons I just stated, Bo Bichette and the Yankees, you have this open window to get him. This open opportunity where he might not return to Toronto. Toronto is making a lot of moves, but a lot of different moves. So this is your time to go get a big fish that can change the trajectory of your lineup. Not only now, but hopefully in a deep October run. That's my 2 cents. Have a great night, everybody.